So last week I asked the question, why do we factor to solve quadratics? Like, why have we been doing this for weeks and weeks? Why have we been factoring these quadratics? So I'm actually going to go ahead, I'm going to start with this equation here. I'm going to call this example 1, that we have y is equal to x squared minus x minus 6. And if you'll notice here, I've gone ahead and I'm going to graph it on the left-hand side. So here we go. We've graphed this, and it looks like this U shape. This is kind of like that Desmos activity that we did last week. And the thing that I really want to go ahead and I want to point out about this is actually where it crosses the x-axis. And if you'll notice, it's crossing the x-axis at -2 and 3. And here is why it's so cool, and here is why it's important that we know how to factor. And that is because if I asked you to solve this, we would go ahead, we'd set it equal to 0. That's the first thing. So 0 is equal to x squared minus x minus 6. And we need to go ahead, we would factor it. That's what we learned last week. And I need to see these little diamonds set up, -6, -1. That gives me a -3 and a +2, meaning that my factors are x minus 3 and x plus 2. We set both of these equal to 0 because of the zero product property rule. -2, -2. So we have x is equal to -2 and x is equal to 3. These guys right here. And hey, those are exactly what our x-intercepts are of our graph. Now, I went ahead and took a little bit of a screenshot of this earlier. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to put this guy in here so that we can label it. And this is super important. This is what we call our roots. And hopefully you picked this up a little bit from your reading last week. The roots. And the roots mean to solve sorry, I'm going to rewrite that. Solve a polynomial. For us, we're working with quadratics in particular, but it's also going to be where they cross the x-axis. And I'm going to take my pink highlighter, and I'm going to highlight these guys. So here's one root, here's your other root, and this is -2, 0 and 3, 0, which also happen to line up with my answers here of 3 and -2. So overall theme is that our roots are what it means to solve a quadratic. So let's go ahead and let's test out this theory. So if I'm looking at example 2, and I have something like x squared minus 2x minus 24 is equal to 0. It's a quadratic. I'm going to try and factor this guy. So -24 at the top, -2 at the bottom. That leaves me with a -6 and a +4. My leading coefficient is 1. So this is those super cool ones where I get to actually just plug in those numbers that I found. So x minus 6 times x plus 4. Using zero product property rule, I'm going to set them both equal to 0 and solve. So x is equal to 6 and x is equal to -4. Now, here's the thing that I want to check out. My roots. So my roots are these So 6 and negative 4. However, I'm going to say that this would cross the x-axis at 6, 0 and negative 4, 0. Let's check my work. Let's test it out. Meaning that when you go over to Desmos, you put in your equation x squared minus 2x minus 24. And let's test it. Negative 4, 0. That's that guy right here. Oops, I switched over to. That guy's done. Let's see what this guy is over here. 6, 0. That's my other root. Okay, I want to do one more example, and this guy was actually on your Desmos activity last week. And we're going to just review it. So, example 3. And that's also because I want to stress that I need to see all of this work with factoring. I'm going to show you every single step here. Okay, so I have a quadratic. First thing first is I will need to set up this x. And negative 24 goes at the top. That's because I have an 8 times negative 3. 2 goes at the bottom because that's my middle term. This is kind of similar to that last one, but now I'm going to have a positive 6 and a negative 4. These are my goal numbers with those rainbows. So I'm going to set up my parentheses. I'm going to draw some rainbows down here. I know that you guys like to put the larger number at the bottom. Okay, then I start thinking about some factors. Well, this guy needs to be 3 because 6 times something, so that's 2x times 3. I got that one down. Meaning that that leaves me with a 4x here times negative 1. Now that I've factored, I get to set both of these things equal to 0 and solve. So 2x is equal to 1. Divide by 2, x is equal to 1/2. And my other answer is that x is equal to negative 3/4. Okay, so those are my roots. However, Desmos is going to go ahead, and Desmos likes to use decimals. So I'm going to transfer these into decimals really fast. So I'm going to say one of my x-intercepts is going to be at 0.50, and my other one is going to be at negative 0.750. And again, these are my roots, what it means to solve over here. All right. Check it out. So we have 8x squared plus 2x minus 3. And I'm going to tap on these x-intercepts. There's negative 0.50. I got this guy. And this guy is 0.50. And I just checked my work. You guys can do this at home and use Desmos if you'd like to check your work. However, I definitely need to see lots of work on your homework. But the main thing that I would like you to go ahead and take away is why are we factoring? And we're factoring to find the roots, also known as the solutions, to the quadratic. You can also say that these are the x-intercepts of the parabola. Okay, you are all done. Please reach out with any questions. I'm happy to help at any time.